Testing. Got it.
Good morning. My name is Charlie, and our service leader today is Lori. Welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Church of Saco in Biddeford. This service is being live streamed and recorded. For those of us joining on YouTube, we encourage you to have a candle or chalice to light when we light ours here in a few moments. Whoever you are, wherever you come from, whomever you love, we are glad you are here today with us. The theme for the month of April is Embracing Possibility. We invite you to contemplate this theme with us today and carry it into your daily life when you leave here. Let us welcome the youngest members here today. May we recognize their noises and rustlings as our next generation participates in worship with us. We commit to be co-stewards of this unceded ancestral land of the Wabanaki Confederation and to work toward a world that is just and thriving for the whole of the web of life. We invite you to take home the order of service for information and announcements, or you may leave it for recycling as you exit the sanctuary. Please silence your cell phone. In case of an emergency, we have exits in the back of the sanctuary as well as the side door. There will be a social hour in the parish hall after the service. Please join us for conversation and refreshments. And our additional announcements today are t-shirts. Sign up for t-shirts on the bulletin board. Long sleeve and youth sizes are available. Please sign up by April 30th. Checks can be made out to UUCSB. Indicate your t-shirt in the memo or purchase through Zephy. If you would rather, you can email Rev Lori with your order. Short sleeves are $25, long $30. Additional donations are expected to offset the cost for others. We love it here. Help. We need someone to redesign and update the yellow monster bulletin board outside the office. It is the bulletin board where we post schedules and sign-ups for the background and organization needs some attention. If you have some time and creative talent, please let us know. It is so needed. Please let Rev Lori or Randa know if you can help out with this. Kit making. Thanks to all for the help with the kit making. 17 folks dropped by to help, and it was a lot of fun. We made 17 medical kits, 44 sandwiches, and more than 40 hygiene kits. Looking forward to the next kit making event, May 12th at 6:30. Yard sale, June 6th. We are on for our annual yard sale. Patrick has graciously raised his hand to pull it together. June 6th from 8 a.m. to 2 p.m. is our date. More details to follow. Patrick will let us know in the next week where, when, how, and why to drop stuff off. Clean out your basements and attics. Invite your friends and neighbors to contribute. Join us to set up, person the sale, and clean up. It's always a fun time. Please contact Patrick at his email as mentioned.
And just a quick update to that, as of this morning, we are ready to receive your donations. You can place them in the narthex outside, the in-between space between here and the outside. Make sure you do it in the center so it doesn't block the exits. And we can also receive them into the basement on a pallet down there. It'll be marked. Do not leave things in the hall. It also is shaping up. It's a work in motion. We will likely have a clothing swap at the same time, and we may even have a barbecue. So if any of that sounds exciting, let Patrick know how you can be of service on that day, because it should be a really fun day.
Sounding the singing bowl.
Sounding the singing bowl. Now please join me in the words for lighting our chalice. This is our sacred promise, to gather together in peace, to seek truth in love, to serve human need, so that all shall grow in harmony with the divine. Good morning. A huge welcome to all of our beloved community, and a huge welcome to our visitors today, the people who are going to share our speaking and otherwise. And a huge thank you, Olivia, to Olivia, who's one of our visitors, who jumped in to help usher this morning when our ushers changed, and to Sarah also, who stepped in. It was fabulous. Welcome to this place made sacred by your presence. Welcome to this place where you are invited, if not required, to bring your whole selves. Happy, sad, desperate, delighted, struggling, celebrating, all of you. Together we gather to honor the earth and our community and to listen to the sacred prophecy of what that community is telling us. Here in southern Maine, the waters are warming, the seasons are shifting, the impacts reach beyond the shorelines into our neighborhoods, our housing, our health, and our shared well-being. Climate change is not only an environment issue, it's a human one. Our call to climate justice requires we consider all pieces and all parts of our environment. We will do that together today with the help of a new friend, Brittany, and a partner in this work locally. We gather to receive the sacred text, the prophetic voice of someone, sorry to put that on you as a prophetic voice, of someone who is immersed in the climate change of our human environment, in our human ecosystem, and who brings wisdom and love and challenge to our community here at UUCSB. In our Unitarian Universalist tradition, we believe that the truth is still speaking. And I've said it before, that the canon, the truth has not closed. It is spoken through our lives, through our relationships, and through the prophetic voice of all that's around us, which means through the land, through science, through our responsibility to care for one another and love one another. May we enter this time together with open hearts, ready to listen, ready to respond, and ready to renew our covenant with the earth, with our community, and with each other. Welcome. And now, stand as you're willing and able and join me in singing hymn number 347, and it'll be up here too. right, now's the time in the service where we turn and greet our neighbors. Hello, neighbor.
There is a stillness in the air before the day begins. There is a stillness in the air before the dawn. There is a stillness in the air as we turn towards the sun, the light pouring into my soul. There is a stillness in the air before the day begins. There is a stillness in the air before the dawn. There is a stillness in the air as we turn towards the sun, the light pouring into my soul. So I stop and I listen as Spirit draws near. Wrapped in its cloak, I have nothing to fear. I sit in the silence for what I might hear as Spirit wakes up in my heart. There is a stillness in the air before the day begins. There is a stillness in the air before the dawn. There is a stillness in the air as we turn towards the sun, the light pouring into my soul. And Spirit wakes up in my heart.
Can we hear me? Thank you. This is a time in our service when we invite people to share what is in their hearts, whether it is a great joy or a deep sorrow. It is not a time for announcements or political statements. If you wish, please come forward to light a candle. Tell us your name if you'd like, and share your joy or sorrow with us if you choose to do so. Please line up on the organ side, light your candle, come to the mic and share, and go back to your seat.
Hi, my name is Donna. I lit a candle of joy this morning because I'm part of the group that's reviving, bringing back our circle suppers, which is an opportunity for all people in the community to get to know in a more intimate way people that they may not have encountered in committee meetings or in the pews. So far, we have many hosts, and over 42 people signed up for our very first Circle Supper evening, which is the 30th of May. Now, if you have seen the email post, there is another week for you to make up your mind and get your name in, so there's still a chance to join us. I hope you can.
Hi, I'm Matt Gerken. Excuse me. On the 15th, I lost a longtime friend, Rick LaRue. Many of you have either met him or have heard about him. He developed dementia back in like 18 or 19, and I think it was Alzheimer's, but he actually never was diagnosed. And his son and daughter are going to do an autopsy on his brain and to find out exactly what he did have, especially because three of their grandparents, 3 out of 4, all died of Alzheimer's, and then now their dad. He was 36 years a friend. That's half our lives spent together, and we were always pretty close. We worked at Colby Sawyer College together. He was my boss there. Then he moved to UNE, and I moved to USM a year later, and we became close friends again here in Maine. And then we just always spent time together. We had Tuesday nights were boys' nights, boys' night out, I called it, and we would get together without fail every week. And I've had plenty of time already to grieve because I lost him once dementia really really set in. So I've come to grips with that, but I still have crying moments, but it's a big loss for me. And just hold the family in your prayers for me. Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Andy Enright. I joined this fellowship a while back, and then I separated myself from it, and then I came back. And it was a glorious homecoming to me to see all these smiley faces. But I've been accepted to assisted living up in Auburn, so I'll be joining a new UU church in Auburn once I get myself planted and stuff. And I'm going to miss all these faces and hugs and just the gathering of everybody. I love you all, and I'm going to miss every single one of you. But I look forward to it's nervous for me, but I look forward to the next chapter of my life. And if it has to be assisted living, then God has a plan. I'm a firm believer. And so God bless you all, and I love you all, and I'm going to miss every one of you. Thank you.
Morning, everybody. My name is Patrick. Um, I have a AA sponsor who I have known for 37 years, and he's been diagnosed with incurable blood cancer. So we don't know. They're giving him a year at the most, and maybe less. So I need your support, and I know that all of you will pray for him and me. This is why I'm getting involved in the church more. There's a sidetrack and to help, because this church is so positive for me. And as you all know, I love my music, and I'll keep sharing it with you. So thank you very much. Bye.
Hi, I'm Amanda. I'm relatively new here. I'm so glad to be part of this community. Yesterday, my sister-in-law Erin's vision suddenly went all haywire, and she had to be admitted to the hospital here in Biddeford, and PET, MRI and CAT scans, and we're waiting for the results. But we're all pretty concerned, and if you could hold her in your thoughts. Her name is Erin Avalone, same last name as me. Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Teague. This morning, all of the women who were triggered by finding out this week about the existence of a website where husbands can learn how to perpetrate violence against their wives while they are asleep. Maybe you found out about that, or maybe you were triggered about it as I was. But my heart goes out to all of the women who have, suffered abuse, and yeah. And I'm thinking about them, and they're in my heart and my thoughts.
My candle. The candle that I lit this morning is for many things. Today, I'm so grateful. Well, I'm old enough to remember when there was not an Earth Day, and I can tell you, so many of us remember the awful things that were happening, and now there is an Earth Day. It's not perfect, but it's a step along the way, because the Earth is magnificent, and I'm grateful. I'm just grateful for that.
Hi, my name's Sarah. I'm standing here celebrating April 19th, 1775. The shot heard round the world was fired and began the American Revolution. I want to thank you to all the people that preceded us and what they've done and what they accomplished. And I think we need some of that get up and go right now.
As I light one last candle for the joys and sorrows left unspoken, let us take a moment to hold what we have heard in our hearts.
just realized that I didn't go down and light a candle, but I did want to let you all know that Adit has been in the hospital. She's had breathing and coughing problems for months now and is undergoing tests and not feeling very well, but hopefully, I think Jean said she might come home today, and the results of what's going on will be next week. So I want us to hold her in our hearts very closely. Will you please join me in a moment of reflection? Divine source of all there is, you provide us this container where we hold each other tenderly in our joys and our sorrows. There is growing, there is healing. There are so many things to be grateful for, and for that we lift our voices in joy for the things that give us inspiration. We lift our voices in joy, but we also stand shoulder to shoulder to support people who are suffering. We wish for Adit's quick healing, and we wish that survivors of domestic violence and children who have been assaulted find safety and find justice in this troubled world. Blessed be, and so be it.
It is now time for our reading. The Honorable Harvest, Robin Wall Kimmerer from Braiding Sweetgrass. Know the ways of the ones who take care of you, so that you may take care of them. Introduce yourself. Be accountable as the one who comes asking for life. Ask permission before taking. Abide by the answer. Never take the first, never take the last. Take only what you need, take only that which is given. Never take more than half, leave some for others. Harvest in a way that minimizes harm. Use it respectfully. Never waste what you have taken. Share. Give thanks for what has been given. Give a gift in return for what you have taken. Sustain the ones who sustain you, and the earth will last forever.
And now stand as you're able and join me in singing hymn number 163, For the Earth Forever Turning. seated. There are moments in history when the greatest conflict is not about values, it's about reality. This is such a moment because while public arguments continue, the earth is not debating, and our unhoused are not debating. The Gulf of Maine is warming faster than almost any other body of water on the planet. The tides are rising at Camp Ellis, salt marshes are slowly drowning, lobster boats travel farther and farther. People have no place to live. They are left on the streets or perhaps choose to be there as their lives don't conform to our society's values. There are not many options for those who do not conform, and there are less and less in this climate of political denial or this shaming of people who don't fit. And these are not political opinions, these are facts. There are seasonal facts that go with our climate. There are political facts that match what's happening in the world. And to be people of faith in a time of political denial is to become a people who listen. Robin Wall Kimmerer writes about the honorable harvest, an ancient covenant between human beings and the living world. She talks about the earth, beautiful, beautiful ways. Know the ways of the ones who take care of you, so that you may take care of them. Do we even know who takes care of us? Here in southern Maine, the ones who take care of us are close at hand. Pay attention. The marshes that soften storms, the storms that were taking our sands away and hitting our streets more and more, the eelgrass that shelters the young fish, the fish are being depleted, the cold waters that shaped our coastal culture, that kept the sharks at bay, really, are warming up. The forests and the rivers that sustain our communities. To know their ways is to notice that they are in distress, and that's not politics. That's reality. To know their ways is to notice. To notice. Attention, as I've said before and again, attention is one of the most spiritual practices we can practice. And here we commit to be spiritual people and to practice our spirituality. Attention. And there's the human ecosystem. Ecosystems are not only forests and oceans. The green sanctuary work that UUs have been doing for years, it's not just about solar panels and window inserts, and certainly this go around. We were asked to look at our human ecosystems in here, but the human habitats and the human communities around us, and how our lives impact those, and how society's lives impact those. The human habitats, the climates of impacted people, and the environment, not just as green, but the environment of greed, of poverty, of addiction, of prejudice, of a scarcity mindset, the communities of fear and ignorance. We as a church named homelessness, the unhoused, as a part of our climate in Saco and Biddeford and our ecosystem, and we wanted to examine how we could really support. And we've dipped our toes into ways that may not be sustainable for us, that may not even be helpful, and thank you. Thank you for showing up and trying those. But we're not going to back off. We're going to continue to revisit how we can, in a sustainable way, participate in that community. We've explored warming services and pivoted for several reasons. We've started making kits based on needs identified by those receiving the support, and we're pivoting now as the needs evolve. Our ecosystems and our sacred texts are our streets, Our sacred texts are our encampments. There are beaches, there are marshes, there are parks, there are parking lots where needles are scattered. These are our sacred prophetic texts. And what does that mean? That our prophets are our housing systems, or lack thereof. Our prophets are our food systems, or lack thereof. There are mental health systems, or lack of access to those. They are encampments, overnight shelters, or lack thereof. They are rehab programs. They are sober houses, or lack thereof. Communities of belonging and communities of isolation are our prophetic voices. And the accepted understanding of climate change does not affect everyone equally. Many of us, most of us, may not feel it day to day, but climates and changing ecosystems of injustice keep those who don't have without equal access to what there still is. It keeps all of us fighting for crumbs, so we are distracted by making the changes to the system that really need the change. Honestly, it's not feeding that homeless that is what we are partially required to do. It's changing the systems that keep them homeless and hungry. But if we're fighting for crumbs, we don't have the energy or the attention to really look at that. Climate change that moves us away from social safety nets, to privatizing society needs, to protecting investment and greed, deepens poverty, destabilizes housing, increases displacement and homelessness, makes incarceration profitable, commodifies people who are suffering, commodifies immigrants and sends them to private holding centers. It's profitable right now. So why wouldn't we do it? Why wouldn't we do it? We being the capital we. It intensifies stress, anxiety, trauma. It makes recovery from addiction harder. It stretches already fragile support systems even thinner. So folks, denying these facts, denying them, is a whole other contribution to climate crisis. It's really what climate crisis looks like. And the warming seas are part of that. So to care for the earth and our climate, more broadly defined, is also to deeply care for one another. The Honorable Harvest teaches us restraint, gratitude, reciprocity, love, self-reflection, simplicity, accountability. But what we are living through right now is the result of a culture that has taken without asking, without gratitude, without limits. The hoards, collects, takes away from others that should not even be a commodified reality. That should never happen. We are a church that's named Unhoused as a part of our climate in our ecosystem in Saco that we want to examine and support. Probably not perfectly, probably we have to pivot a lot. And we've started that journey. We explored warming service, that's really not going to be sustainable. We've started making kits, as I said before. Denying the facts of what I'm saying politically furthers the human consequences and suffering. And our faith requires that we continue to look at that, and we continue to talk about it, and we continue to consider it. It denies another whole face to what climate crisis really means. When the world is our sacred text, the climate, both green and the climate that is humanity, tells us something real. So what if the coastline is our scripture? What if the folks on the street are our prophets? What if rising tides at Camp Ellis, disappearing marshlands, all of those things are telling us what we're supposed to be doing? What if the encampments and the lives that live there are our sacred storytellers. Our one common shared story. It's not their story. It's never their story. It's our common story. To live in reality right now is to feel grief and scaredness and anger, I hope. But grief is not the opposite of faith. So don't deny it. It's not the opposite of faith. Grief is what love looks like when what we love is at risk. Grief is love. If we have taken the gift of fossil fuels, what does it mean to gift back in return? If we have taken protection from marsh and forest and ocean, what does it mean to restore them? If we have benefited from systems that leave others exposed and desperate, what does it mean? What is our call to help? So to give back today may be supporting climate resilience in our own towns, protecting land and water, strengthening housing stability, demanding warming services that are accessible and helpful and funded. All of the shelters have closed. Seeds is struggling to figure out how to stay open. Next winter, there may be nothing at all. What is our role in that? Supporting mental health and recovery programs, telling the truth clearly in public life, showing up at public meetings, budget meetings, standing with those most affected first, standing with those most affected the worst, not because these actions alone will save the world, they clearly won't, but because they shape us into people of covenant rather than consumption. That is the standard of our church. That is the standard of the change that is needed. Our spiritual ancestors faced their own denial. Humanity of enslaved people, woman's full personhood, violence done against indigenous communities, denial of the earth's limits. All of those things are happening again. And our ancestors are telling us. They were told they were being too political, by the way. And I hear that about myself sometimes. Don't be too political in the pulpit. But these issues are issues of faith. And we are being called into the fullness of our faith. Making peanut butter and jelly sandwiches is sacred work, just as other churches have communion. It is sacred work. Shifting what we put out there, including the more critical needs that are needed right now, is sacred work, being able to pivot, even if change makes bumps in the road, even if we don't do it perfectly. So I didn't mean to take up so much time, and I really need you to meet Britt, who is a fabulous partner and a fabulous human being, and hear about her work and what's needed on the streets right now and what it really looks like and how we see folks truly and unconditionally offer them positive regard, because it's really hard to work with people from within your own value system and question your value system, because there's nothing wrong with your value system, and yet we still use it as the marker for the folks we help. And so I just want to throw that out there. Living our principles and values outside this sanctuary is what we're called to do, and so we invite folks outside our sanctuary in to remind us of what that looks like. And I will say, the future is watching us. Our kiddos are watching us. We are still here. We are capable of gratitude and courage and repair. And may we always be a becoming people who strive to sustain, to give back, to offer sustenance, and to take it. I'm going to stop talking now. You have Brittany's bio in your bulletin. Please read it. I don't want to have to read it out loud, but Brittany, come on up. I guess briefly, she is the outreach coordinator for the city of Biddeford. She works for the police department, but not really, and she'll explain all that. So, you want to there, or wherever you're comfortable, or you can use the handheld, or...
Okay. I don't like projecting my voice, so.
Yep, and lean in so we can all hear you.
Cool. Hey, how's it going, everyone? My name is Britt. Before I kind of get going and speaking to you guys about what I do in my own life, I just like to get or read of the room. How many, you can raise your hand or just nod or whatever you fancy. How many folks work in public health or know someone who works in the public health system? Cool, wonderful. And public health is whatever that means to you, I guess. And show of hands, nods, or just, I think we can all acknowledge that everybody in this room has probably been affected either personally or through a loved one with someone who suffers from substance use disorder, mental health, severe poverty, even if you know them well or not. I mean, we can, you know, acknowledge that it's all around us regardless. You never know the person that's struggling that could be next to you at the gas station or, you know, in line at a grocery store or whatnot. So it affects all of us around here, you know. As far as myself, I live in Shapley, Maine, 45 minutes just west that way. I lived in Biddeford for like 7 years between 2013 and 2020, if that's 7 years. I'm not great at math, so I'm a social worker. But yeah, so I grew up in Western Massachusetts, right near the Berkshires, if anyone is familiar with that area. It's funny looking back. I actually thought about this last night because I never thought this was, I always knew I was going to do something to help people, regardless of like what that looked like, right? I always thought it would be a veterinarian because if anybody read my spiel, I have a lot of animals and, well, I don't think it's a lot, but I've had more. I love animals. But when I was in 4th grade, my family and I, we took a trip down to Florida on the train. And I'll never forget that we stopped in DC at the train station and we got breakfast at McDonald's. And I don't know how old you are in 4th grade, like 10. And me and my dad were eating pancakes. And there were folks who, at that time, I'm 10 years old, I have no idea, are coming up to us, like asking for our food. And I remember my dad is a protective father, so this isn't against him, but, you know, as a 10-year-old, I remember being so angry at my dad for getting mad and for getting mad at the people who were coming up to us trying to get our food. And I just remember bawling my eyes out for the entire week, and I didn't speak to him because I was so upset that someone would get mad over such a basic human need of wanting food. And my dad actually reminds me of that story because when I tell people I'm in homeless services, they're like, oh yeah, that makes sense. You did this, this, and this when you were a kid, just because basic human needs was something that I just thought was crazy that people even had to fight for or ask for at such a young age. But yeah, my story kind of starts off with, you know, I have, like many people in this room or people that we know, like I have my own struggles. I was born and raised in a trailer park, and which I think this might not be the room, but Trailer Park Boys is my favorite show in the entire world. So, okay, cool, hell yeah. All right, I like this crowd already. We're good. So yeah, no hate on that. You know, people do it. What we got to do. What we got to do. And I had I'm not going to get into my childhood struggles just for simplicity of time and just protecting my own peace and my family's peace. But yeah, we went through a lot as a family, a lot of adversity. And so when I moved to Maine to go to university, I had a lot of substance use struggles myself. Anything under the sun, you name it, I did it and fell in love with it because I was just going through a lot of hard times with my own mental health adversity. I was living in my car for a while, struggling with housing myself, food insecurity, all that fun stuff. And I started getting into the work, I think, because of that. I love the idea of, none of us can necessarily, I'm not saying that we all need to go get addicted to drugs to work in this field, but I think I think there's a beauty in going through struggles and then coming out of that, and whether you dedicate your whole life's work to it, or it's a volunteer thing, or it's just something that you have community conversations about, using things that you've struggled with as a way to help other folks, just to be that light in somebody's world. It's really lovely. That kind of helped me get out of my own struggles. It was just talking to folks who had kind of been there, done that. So you can know and see that there is a light on the other side of things. When I started to get involved in the work, I had already been to jail myself a few times, and I wanted to work for a recovery program at the time, because I not only, again, like I said, wanted to give back to a community that was so near and dear to my heart, but they were the first recovery facility to go into the jail systems to offer MAT, which is medicated assisted treatment. We were doing Suboxone at the time, so we were working with folks who most likely or usually had a charge that had something to do with substances, right? Whether it was either a direct substance use charge or a charge because they were under the influence of X, Y, or Z. And we would offer them case management and IOP, which is intensive outpatient therapy for folks, if they had fancied that, and of course autonomy of choice if that's what they wanted to do. So I started working for Enzo Recovery and went into the jails, and that was an interesting time. I loved the work, but working in the jails was hard just because misogyny and people who are not nice, and some of the workers there. And after working in the recovery field for a few years, I just started to not really enjoy it as much. People, from my experience, my belief or my perception is that all walks of life, all walks of recovery should be celebrated, whether you choose this path or this path, who cares? You chose a path, even if you don't choose a path and you're still using. I think, to each their own, but with my recovery journey looked different than some people who preach certain ways of recovery. I was not the abstinent-based AA 12-step type of vibes. I'm more of a harm reductionist, so I smoked a lot of weed to help me get through my times. So not everyone agreed with that, and the recovery world was just becoming kind of toxic to me. And there's a lot of lovely people I'm still very near and dear to my heart, but we all know the famous saying, like, girls are toughest on other girls, or like X profession is toughest on, the people in that field, and it was just, something I couldn't really vibe with anymore. And part of what I was doing when I was working in the jails is I became keen to working with people who were being released but had nowhere to go. They were going outside. So one of my biggest jobs was to follow people after their sentence to make sure and to make sure that they had that support for them as they were getting out of the incarceration system. We all know the famous statistic that the number one rate of people who overdose and die is coming out of incarceration systems and institutions. So I fell in love with that work. And when I was working with more and more people who didn't have those four walls and roof over their head, is when I started drifting into like, I want to work more with our folks who are outside regardless of substance use or mental health or X, Y, or Z. We're all humans, and substance use is just a tiny little piece of us. You know, just like I have brown hair and blue eyes and have 15 rabbits, substance use is just a tiny little part of who I am and a part of anybody who struggles with that. So then I started working at Preble Street, and while I was working at Preble Street and also Enzo Recovery, I was doing a lot of other things too. Like I was the campaign director for a safe consumption site in Portland, Maine, so folks had a safe place to use. I went to Germany for a few, like almost a month, to really learn how Frankfurt was. Not only the city, but also how they were facilitating their safe consumption site, and just watching the beautiful work that was going on there. And went to Vancouver to look at their safe consumption site too, in New York. So I took a deep dive into that for a while. And then when I started working at Preble Street, it was right before COVID happened. So I started in 2020. And I was working at the COVID quarantine shelter. So we had hotels all around South Portland and Scarborough. And the purpose of that was, say you or I get COVID, right? We have, I don't know everybody's life in this room, but assuming that you have a house to go to be able to quarantine, loved ones helping take care of you. But with our quarantine shelters, it was for folks who are outside who needed that safe place to quarantine, not only for their own health, to be able to be fed adequately and be in warmth and in bed, but also from a public health standpoint of not transferring COVID within the greater community. And it's funny because there were some chaplains that were coming in there at the time, and I was very reluctant to it at first. I was like, make sure we're not like, you know, preaching God or whatnot, like encourage any other conversations, but I just really didn't want that to be the main focal point. And when me and Lori connected, it's interesting because she was saying like, oh, like she was part of that team that was going into the COVID quarantine shelters. So full circle, small world. And then when COVID was, well, not over, but dying down, I was doing other roles at Preble Street. I had become a manager, a supervisor already at the time, and I was supervising at the Florence Housewarming Shelter, at the street outreach teams, and also the Housing First projects. If anyone's unfamiliar with Housing First, it's literally in the name, it's housing first. So how can we expect folks who are living outside to even be able to wrap their head around substance use and mental health if they don't have safety and security and four walls around them? So the idea is put folks into housing, and again, autonomy of choice, but that's the best way for folks to start addressing anything else in their lives, basically. So I was managing those facilities, and then in 2022, there was a cool opportunity where Maine was going to open up a medical respite program. Medical respite, or recuperative care, tomato, tomato, is essentially a medical shelter. So again, same concept. If you or I go into the hospital because we have endocarditis or have an amputation or a car accident, we have a safe place to go to with a loved one to help take care of us, and a fridge and food security and warmth. But for folks who are outside, they don't have the luxury of really any of, if not most of those basic needs. So we opened up our place. I was the director of social services at the facility for 3 years. Folks would stay for a couple weeks or a couple months, and we were doing really, really amazing work there, just to see people come in with who are absolutely terrified and have been in survival mode for the last 5 years, 30 years, 40 years of their life. And to see the ease on their faces and in their bodies after 1 week, after 2 weeks, after 2 months of being there, it's something that I think most people in this room wouldn't be able to even comprehend. It's not something I was even able to comprehend until I saw it, because I had only worked on the streets with people who were in survival mode every single day. So to see folks who were able to breathe for the first time, who could engage in addressing anything in their life, whether that's as simple as getting an ID or wanting to access recovery services, or just wanted to smoke cigarettes for 5 hours and not be bothered and have to chase down when their next meal is gonna be. Just being in that resting space was really special to see. And then part of the reason why I got into the work that I'm doing today is because when folks would just discharge from the medical respite program, we were taking people from all over the state, because we're the only one, and we were in Portland, Maine. And we were partnered with the Level 1 Trauma Center, which is Maine Men right next door. So we would get people from, Bangor, Presque Isle, all around Biddeford area, York County, and when folks would discharge, in Portland, they have all of their resources right there. There are several different case managers, their doctors, their, this and that. Their community is there to be able to continue to recover from whatever they are struggling with. But when folks would discharge to sporadically in other rural areas of Maine, usually most, if not all of those services would discontinue, and we would see people almost immediately go back to their survival modes and being unhoused. And if they had several different chronic health conditions, they typically would flare up within days of being back outside. So part of, again, why I came to Biddeford is just seeing people, even, Portland's 20 minutes away. When people would discharge back here, there's no services in Biddeford for our unhoused communities. So someone who, I was their boss, they were a supervisor at recuperative care over there. Neva was the city councilor for Biddeford at the time, Ward 5? Yeah. And she had told me about this police liaison position, and I was like, I don't know, I definitely don't want to work for the police, but we'll see. Yeah, I think I don't need to say more than that. But I went in for the interview, and I was like, hey, City of Biddeford doesn't have a social services department. You guys actually don't have anything for our unhoused community at all. You have a police department and GA, which neither technically social services. I understand you want to hire someone who goes to all your police calls and has an office in the PD and rides around with the cops and responds to varying mental health and substance use disorder stuff. I was like, that's fantastic. If that's what you want, I'm not your girl. This is what I want to do, though. You guys have, I lived in Biddeford until 2020. Maybe there was a few people living outside. There's like 80 people outside. I specialize in street outreach, and I specialize in harm reduction, and I specialize in working with our unhoused community. I want to create street medicine. I want to create a street outreach team. Take it or leave it. And they were like, yeah, that sounds great. You do that. So that's when I started doing this work, which was last March of 2025. Yeah, I'm like, what year is it? And so I've been doing that for a year. It's been very different, working in Portland, but not only Portland, I left out a bunch of stuff, but I've been to, in my early mid-20s, I was working for Boston Healthcare for the Homeless for a while, working encampment work for there. And I've been to Pittsburgh a few times, rolling with their street medicine team. Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania is where street medicine was actually, born. There's a street medicine institute there. So I love going there and learning from the experts of folks who are doing radical street medicine. It's absolutely beautiful. And I also work for the National Healthcare for the Homeless Council, which is the most experts of experts in the field of people who work in medical settings for our unhoused community. So they fly me around the country to go into medical respite programs, into shelters, into street outreach facilities, and teach people the most best practice harm reduction ways to run their facilities and to train their staff. So coming to Biddeford with only X amount of people outside and 0 services, it was very, very different, you know. 80 people outside isn't that much compared to what I am used to, but I recognize it is a lot for this community, especially when it's something that's new and unfamiliar for the rest of the community to see and be a part of. But also, I was not used to working in a community that had 0 resources for our unhoused folks. So trying to find case management, most basic thing in the world, right? There's how many case management facilities in Portland? Trying to find medical care. It still is, you know, not accessible here in Biddeford, so I take everybody to Portland to the local FQHC, federally qualified healthcare center. So a lot of what I do is pretty straightforward. Street medicine, street outreach is I go to the encampments every single day, and I go to the shelter. I don't even have an office, so my office is my car, and the world, you know. I take my backpack out and I go wherever I need to, and anywhere from basic needs like handing out the peanut butter and jelly sandwiches that you guys make, and again, asking people what they need. Do you want a PCP? Do you need dental care? Do you need housing opportunities? Do you need, you know, X, Y, and Z? But a lot of times it's daily survival stuff. That's where that wound care comes in. That's where getting people to urgent care and their medical providers is so essential and for folks. So it's looking at things from the ground level, but also a lot of my work is looking at it from a bird's eye view, like I was doing in Portland. So it's, you know, advocating with city council members and our city managers and whatnot about keeping Seeds of Hope open, but I have even a bigger ambitions than just Seeds of Hope. I would love to, you know, advocate for other shelter opportunities, and because we opened up the medical respite program in Portland, I want medical respite here in Biddeford, you know, trying to partner with Maine Medical Center to be able to help fund that. So it's just looking at working with our unhoused population from all angles, and working for the city, things take a lot longer than working for nonprofits because there's a lot more politics involved, which has been fun to learn and figure that out. That's pretty much it. That's pretty much the stuff.
I hate to do it.
No, you're good.
But the point is, there's coffee afterwards, and she's going to be there ready for your questions. And like I said, she's our full partner now, and so we're trying to work with her and pivot to what is going on out there, and it's beautiful. It's absolutely beautiful, and she is our prophet and our guide. So thank you so much for coming. I really appreciate it.
Thanks, guys. Thank you.
I know I hate to stop her. I shouldn't have talked so much, but anyways, now is the time in the service where we, oh gosh, what is it? Oh, we accept our offering, and it's how we come to church. We share our time and our gifts and our talents and our resources so our work can continue. As always, we share our plate with another group out there. We're sharing it with Maine Unitarian Universalist State Advocacy Network, who's actually doing the higher level work for us. If you're with us online, you can donate through the Give button, or you can send a check to UUCSB, Saco Biddeford, 60 School Street, Saco. This morning's offering will now be received. And join me in the words for extinguishing our chalice. As we release this flame from its faithful service today, we allow the spark in each of us to burn on, to warm our compassion, to fire our delight, to light our paths today, tomorrow, and always. And pull out your teal hymnal or see it up there and join me in singing Rising Green. Please be seated. As we leave this time together, may we remember that caring for the earth and caring for one another is the same sacred work. Go forward with courage, compassion, hope, ready to live our covenant with this living world and with each other, remembering all of our roles in the work that is asked of us. Before you go, meet us in the parish hall for coffee. Definitely meet Britt and her crew. Thank you so much for coming today.
I'm sorry? I really enjoy your playing. I actually worked really hard on this, on that first prelude. It's not easy. So I'm glad you enjoyed it. Thank you. Thank you. Oh, thank you. Oh, too bad you quit. Too bad you quit. Thank you. Thanks, Tim. It means a lot. I could use a little light.